Welcome to History of Abnormal, the channel where we uncover the forgotten, the unsettling, and the extraordinary stories that the world was never meant to forget. The woman who bled crystals, a mystery in the flesh. Imagine a wound opening on your skin, but instead of blood, something sharp glitters in the light. Not liquid, but fragments. Not red, but crystalline. A body that bleeds stones. A body that turns pain into jagged shards. For centuries, stories of people bleeding strange substances were dismissed as myth, as folklore. But sometimes, truth is stranger than imagination. Welcome to History of Abnormal, the channel where we uncover the forgotten, the unsettling, and the extraordinary. Today we explore the haunting story of the woman who bled crystals, a rare medical mystery that seems almost impossible, yet is real. The first reports doctors first wrote about patients who excreted crystals instead of normal fluid more than a century ago. At first, these reports were treated as curiosities, little notes in medical journals, barely believed. A woman in India was described as having shards growing from her eyes. A man in the Middle East was said to weep stones. But in more modern times, the phenomenon became harder to ignore. Photographs appeared. Laboratory tests confirmed it. Certain rare metabolic diseases could make crystals form inside the body, pushing out through the skin. The most shocking case came from a woman whose wounds never bled in red, but glittered with white fragments. They cut into her flesh as they emerged, leaving her scarred, in agony, and unable to understand why her own body betrayed her. The science behind the horror. So what causes a body to bleed crystals? One explanation is primary hyperoxaluria, a genetic disorder where the body produces too much oxalate. Normally, oxalate is harmless, flushed out in urine. But in this disease, oxalate binds with calcium to form crystals. Calcium oxalate, the same material found in kidney stones. In most patients, these crystals damage the kidneys, but in the most severe cases, they spread through the bloodstream, embedding in skin, bones, even the heart. The body quite literally begins to crystallize from within. Other conditions like cystinosis and gout also create abnormal crystals. Some patients have been documented with crystal tears, tiny shards forming in their eyes, scratching their vision. Others develop patches of hard glass-like growths that break through the skin. To imagine this is almost unbearable. Every movement, every touch, turning into pain as your flesh pushes glass outward. The woman herself. The case that captured worldwide attention involved a middle-aged woman who appeared in clinics with recurring lesions. Doctors expected infection or perhaps a rare skin condition. Instead, when the wounds were examined, they found fragments, sharp, translucent shards that had grown inside her. Her case was photographed and presented at conferences. Some doubted the truth, calling it exaggeration, but repeated biopsies showed calcium oxalate crystals erupting from her skin. She wasn't bleeding blood, she was bleeding minerals. How do you live knowing your body is making weapons against you? How do you explain to family and friends that your pain is not invisible? It is cutting through your skin in jagged pieces? A question for you. If your body began to betray you in such a way, turning wounds into crystals, would you want the world to see, to study you? Or would you hide, fearing the eyes that see you only as a freak? Other cases around the world. She was not alone. In medical archives, rare stories appear. A teenage boy with cystinosis, whose corneas sparkled with crystal deposits, blinding him. An elderly man in Saudi Arabia, whose eyes wept small stones, leaving his cheeks scarred. A child in Eastern Europe whose bones became so fragile from crystal buildup that fractures came with the gentlest touch. Each of these lives tells the same truth. Crystals, the beauty of the natural world, become prisons when grown inside the body. Life with the disease. Beyond the science lies the suffering. Patients with crystal disorders face constant exhaustion, kidney failure, bone pain, and disfigurement. For many, dialysis is the only way to stay alive. For some, only a transplant can slow the process. Even then, crystals may return as the genetic fault continues its work. The woman who bled crystals lived with constant stares. Nurses who first treated her recoiled at the sight. Some even laughed nervously, unsure what they were seeing. She was left feeling like a specimen, not a patient. And yet she endured. Her case taught medicine, more than any textbook, that even the most bizarre symptoms must be believed, must be studied, because behind them lies a human being desperate for relief. The weight of the extraordinary. When these stories are told, they often focus on the shock, the glittering wounds, the photographs of crystals pressed into flesh. But behind every crystal lies a life disrupted. A mother unable to hold her child without pain. A teenager teased at school for being made of stone. A man whose laughter hid the agony of glass breaking through his own skin. And still, these people lived. They walked, they loved. They found ways to endure. That may be the most extraordinary part of all. A second question for you. Do you think you could endure such a life, every day marked by pain, every wound turned into shards, or would you surrender to despair? The legacy of the case. The woman who bled crystals eventually faded from headlines, but her case lives on in medical literature. She forced doctors to confront the limits of what the body can become. Her story reminds us that life is more fragile, more strange, and more extraordinary than we dare to imagine. Some say her suffering gave meaning, because through her, science learned. Through her, others with the same disease found recognition. Her blood may have turned to crystals, but her legacy is far from cold. Closing words. This was the story of the woman who bled crystals, a body that glittered with pain, a life transformed into a mystery, a reminder of how thin the line is between beauty and horror. Here on History of Abnormal, we bring you the stories the world tried to forget, the unsettling, the hidden, the extraordinary. Subscribe if you dare and step deeper into the shadows of human history. Thank you so much for watching History of Abnormal. Don't forget to share this video, leave a comment below, and press that like button to help us with more stories. Thank you for your support.